this isn't the first time we're actually having conversations about the infrastructure deficit in the colleges of education. And as it stands now, based on what the other panelists said, we should be saying that we're in a crisis when it comes to the infrastructure deficit in the colleges of education. Now, from our own point of view, you would notice that level 400 students who are supposed to start their second semester in this year 2022 would have to spend close to 9 months for just one semester, of which one semester initially was just 4 months. Within 4 months, you were done with the semester and you would have completed and you were planning to actually take your final exam, NTC exams, and then leave college. But as it stands now, because of the infrastructure deficit in the colleges, we now have the level 400 students who would report to school after vacating in December, in June. That's about 6 months now. Just go and then sit back at home. And I mean, we ask ourselves, doing what at home? Now, these are some of the challenges we are facing. Now, shifting it to the point of view of the admissions in the colleges of education, I side with my big brother, Kwesi Kwatin, on this particular issue because listening to the statistics that was presented, you never mentioned as a result of the fact that what caused some people from being admitted into the college, what prevented some people from being admitted into the colleges. Now, times have changed. And since we are now using the B.Ed system, you would need 6 credits to be able to enter into the colleges of education. Now, even up to date, people don't know of this reality. You still have people calling around to find out whether they can come into colleges with F9, G7, E8 in core subjects like English, science, and mathematics. So when we make the analysis of the fact that some people were not admitted into the colleges, we should look into one or two things. What is actually causing the people from not being admitted? Now, another factor that we would say attests to the increase in people wanting to come into the colleges is the payment of the allowances. I must be honest on that because so these allowances that were introduced by the government are actually helping the teacher trainees a lot in terms of so many um, 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 how would I even put it, needs in the colleges. So when we are talking about the issue of infrastructure deficit, yes, there's a crisis. We need to look into that. Right from the beginning, we TAG have always been advocating for privatization in the colleges of education. We cannot say that in the universities today, they don't have infrastructure deficit. We can't run away from that fact. We cannot say that in the universities today, they don't have people applying and the numbers they are picking to does not tally with maybe the numbers we are talking about now. So what we should be looking at now is improving upon the infrastructure deficit in the colleges of education. Now, my whole issue or challenge I have with this whole thing is that, you see, the B.Ed system was introduced in 2018. Now, policymakers who saw the need for colleges to be upgraded from diploma to degree should have looked into all these things. You don't go into a policy that you want, in the process of you going into the policy, you are now amending things of the policy. It's not done that way. Once you roll out a policy, you should know that in the future, the colleges can only accommodate 2-year groups. So once the colleges can only accommodate 2-year groups, what should you have done back then in 2018? You should have started preparing for 2022, where we would have the 4-year badge on campus, and there would be pressure on the infrastructure we have in the colleges. So basically, we are in a crisis when it comes to the infrastructure deficit. But for the cancellation or the scrapping of the allowances, we as an association do not side with such opinions when it comes to such discussion.